I've used ChatGPT for the last 765 days to help me with my work, and I've come to realise something, and it's a little bit brutal. I used it completely and utterly wrong. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 6 things that I wish I knew sooner that now help me use ChatGPT so much more effectively in my day-to-day work. These 6 tips alone would have saved me quite literally hundreds if not thousands of hours of wasted work, while also getting ChatGPT to do the things that I actually want it to do. And these 6 tips will actually help you benefit from ChatGPT in your day-to-day work, the way in which we've all dreamed that AI can. So here's the problem. Most people use ChatGPT like some fancy version of Google. They type their questions in, wait for answers, and then expect some kind of magic back, and then blame ChatGPT for not being as amazing as they hear other people talk about it. ChatGPT isn't Google. It's AI. It works completely different. It doesn't shine when you just ask it questions. It shines when you know how to instruct it and use it like the tool that it actually is. Just because you've bought Gordon Ramsay's new amazing frying pan doesn't make you him. Doesn't make you cook as good as him. You have to learn how to use it. And in the same way, you have to learn how to use ChatGPT and AI to get the results that you want. And using ChatGPT well doesn't mean you have to be really good with AI or understand how it works. You just have to be good at explaining the job you want done. So just think about it this way. It's like a 150 or 160 IQ genius that is super quick, can do as much as you want, with insane speed, infinite work capacity, but absolutely no context unless you explain it. And once I tried to look at it that way, as someone or something that I needed to explain what I wanted it to be, what I wanted it to do, and the outcome that I wanted, it has started massively improving the results and the benefit that I get from it. And my day job's always been dealing with business operations, analysing data, acting on metrics, communicating with internal stakeholders, or speaking to customers and putting out fires. And every time I bumped into a problem or wanted to do something a little bit quicker, I would just mind fart it into ChatGPT and expect for some kind of help, and then get a little bit annoyed that it wasn't doing exactly what I wanted it to, or writing like a robot. And the more I've come to understand, I'm the problem, not ChatGPT. So today the video is really simple. It's 6 things I wish I knew sooner and that I benefit every day from knowing now. 6 upgrades that will turn ChatGPT from some kind of roughly helpful assistant into a tool that you can use as a work engine that thinks or updates, responds, and most importantly, solves problems for you and with you in the way that you actually benefit from it. Because once you use these tips, you're no longer the person that thinks they're using AI just because they have a ChatGPT account. You become someone who can actually get value from it and show others in the office, in your job, or the work for you how to get value too. So, tip number 1. Stop asking ChatGPT questions. Instead, learn how to give it instructions. When you type into that search window, that chat window on ChatGPT, you need to type in what's called a prompt. Not a question, not just some random piece of information. And a prompt is an instruction that ChatGPT understands. And the simplest, easiest way to break this down so you can start thinking about how to create prompts rather than ask questions is using this simple framework. You define the role, you give it the task that you want it to do, you tell it the format in which you want the result to come in, you provide it with some guiding rules that tell you what you do and don't want. As an example, you don't want it to come across with M dashes or anything else that you don't want it to definitely do. And if you can, if you've got a really good example, give it, because it can analyse that example and try and replicate that kind of result for you. You're giving it more context to understand. In the same way, instead of just asking ChatGPT to write an email for you and saying, can you rewrite this? Instead, you give it a role. So you go, you are my professional tone of voice email writer that always maintains a professional, clear tone. I have received a customer complaint and I would like you to take my email and rewrite it in a way that helps deal with the situation and makes the customer feel heard and a little bit more positive. You are going to write this in a format that replicates the emails that I've already sent, and here's an example. And please ensure to only use British words, British text, and try to reduce any form of American slang or talking. In that way, we're giving ChatGPT its role, its task, the format in which we want to produce the result, the rules in which it can work in, not using American style words or language and remaining sort of British speaking, and we've even given an example of one of the emails we've sent before. That way we're going to get a far more structured and beneficial result from ChatGPT. And this works with anything that you would ever want ChatGPT to do. And here's a quick side tip. If you're unsure of how to prompt ChatGPT, open a new window, a new chat window, it's called a context window, and simply ask it. That's tip 1.5. If you're unsure how to prompt ChatGPT, simply just ask it first and then put that prompt in a different window, fresh, and it feels like you are the most amazing ChatGPT prompter without the need to actually learn what you're doing. So let's move on to tip 2. Now, when I've had conversations with ChatGPT in the past, I seem to get lost in things, and I always wanted to bring something back up for me that might be in a different chat or a different window. Well, you can ask ChatGPT to save things for you. ChatGPT, within the settings of your account, actually has a stored memory, and you can go in and delete stuff and edit stuff and remove memories if you want to. But if you're ever talking to it and you know that you want to bring this point back up, come back to it another time to make sure that it's there, simply ask ChatGPT to save it to its memory for reference in the future. It's a bit like giving ChatGPT a sticky note, and you can use it for so many things. You can tell ChatGPT what your job is, so it'll always have the context of how to answer you when you're talking about things in work. Or maybe you're brainstorming and trying to solve some problems with ChatGPT, and it comes up with some really cool insights that you want to revisit and come back to and recall at a later time. You can ask it to save that too, and you will see within the ChatGPT window that it'll tell you this has been saved to my memory. So that way you can come back and have conversations on topics that you've spoke about before that you don't have to re-explain or potentially lose. So tip number 3, and this is where most people get really frustrated with ChatGPT, because people think that just because there's AI or it does all these magical things that it's going to remember everything that you've said. Like I said in step 2, you've got to ask it to save stuff for you, and it can only save a certain amount. So tip number 3 is letting you know that each conversation is actually not a conversation. It comes across like that because we speak to ChatGPT, but in actual fact it's something called a context window. Think of each context window as opening a new page on the notebook. Each page in the notebook is full of information, and each page has its own notes and writing on, but each new page is a blank slate and brand new. So the large notebook is ChatGPT. It has all your conversations in, all your context windows in, but each page doesn't flow onto the other page. It's individual. So unless you ask it to save something, every time you open a new conversation up, it's only going to have access to the context that you've got within that conversation. And bear that in mind, because if you've asked ChatGPT to do something for you in a conversation and then completely change what you want it to do, it's going to confuse the output ever so slightly, because every time it answers, it's going to use its knowledge and its understanding that it answers all your normal questions from. But then the context, the things you've already spoke about in that conversation are actually going to guide and influence the next output. So make sure, if you ever want to get the best results from ChatGPT, open a new context window every time you're asking it to do something different or talk about something different. And as another quick little tip, you can rename those conversations. So if you have something that you always go back to because you like to use a certain conversation to write emails, and you've got all the other emails within that context window, save it. But just one extra little thing. If that context window gets too big, then the responses of ChatGPT you'll see will start to slow down. So here's a quick little another tip for you. Ask it to summarise the context window of the conversation, copy paste, open a new window, and now you've got another window with 80 or 90% the same level of understanding and information and context as the one you've just used. That is a quick tip if ChatGPT starts to slow down in a window. It's probably because you've got too much context that it has to think about every time it answers. And with that, let's move on to tip number 4. Custom GPTs are your secret hack to doing amazing things, because other people who love and understand and use ChatGPT has built these GPTs for you. It is a treasure trove of information. But what is a custom GPT? Think of the beautiful world of ChatGPT harnessed and trained to do one specific thing, and that is what a custom GPT is. It's a bit like an app. Think of ChatGPT like your mobile phone. It has access to the internet and all this information and all the different bits of software and hardware on the phone. And when you download an app, it utilises all the bits that it needs to perform one specific task. And that's exactly the same as a GPT. It's a bit like going onto the App Store and downloading or accessing a specific app that does one job, and that's what the GPTs are for. So if you want a GPT that helps you write emails a little bit better, or you want a GPT to help you analyse Excel and support you through doing formulas, there's a GPT out there for everything. So just jump into the store, Click the full toggle button in a chat window, jump into the GPT Store and start searching around and finding ones that you like to use for yourself. Tip number 5. You haven't got to type everything to ChatGPT. One of the biggest hacks I've started doing is screenshotting stuff in my day-to-day work. If I'm in an Excel spreadsheet and I can't quite get something to work, I screenshot the error or screenshot the area, paste it into ChatGPT, type a few things about what I want to do, and it'll give me live feedback. But you can keep doing this for so many different things. You can screenshot bits of reports, you can screenshot errors in software programs, tell ChatGPT the problem, what you're trying to do, and it'll often come back to you as better advice than you can find off colleagues or spending hours reading online. So rather than you having to type and explain lots of things, you can simply just show it. And showing is a lot easier than telling. And here is my number 6 tip. And this one is probably the biggest tip of them all. I just spoke about custom GPTs a moment ago and where you can access the GPT Store to find pre-made apps or GPTs that you can use. But my number one thing that I've done for myself is started making my own custom GPTs, harnessing the power of ChatGPT to do things for me in the way that I want them to do them. It's like having my own super intelligent assistant that works really, really quickly. If you do something more than once or twice a week and you use ChatGPT to do it, or maybe you don't even use ChatGPT to do it, but if it's anything to do with writing words, reports, analysing data, then you probably can build your own GPT. So if there's anything repetitive, anything that takes you time to do with spreadsheets, reporting, writing, typing, ask ChatGPT, can it do it? And if it can, build your own GPT to do it for you in the way that you like it done, whenever you need it done. And in one of my previous videos, I show you how to build these GPTs for yourself. Having your own GPT is a bit like walking into the kitchen and opening up a recipe book and trying to work out how to make your favourite meal. That's a bit like us trying to solve our problems, get the normal ChatGPT to do things for us. Whereas compared, we've cooked the meal 1,000 times. We know exactly what we're doing step by step. We don't need to read the book. We don't need the instructions. We know what ingredients are there and we know how to do it step by step. So whenever we want to make that meal, we can do it a lot quicker than learning from scratch. And that is exactly what a custom GPT built around the things that you use ChatGPT can do for you. Now, these 6 tips may sound a little bit simple, but they're things I've learned along the way from using ChatGPT every single day in work. And by understanding each one of these tips and implementing them in my day-to-day, I've saved hours and hours and hours and learned to do things that I never thought possible. But the most important thing of all is I'm actually getting value out of simply just using ChatGPT, let alone building and doing all the other things with the wonderful AI systems that you see in my other YouTube videos. So if you're a business owner or business leader who is sat there scratching your head thinking, ChatGPT looks quite helpful and I should be using this a little bit more often. And then you're also wondering, well, I have all these problems I'm dealing with, all these bottlenecks, the team's struggling with this, we're struggling to do these reports faster, whatever it may be. You might also be thinking, well, I've seen some pretty cool stuff around AI and I've seen some amazing stuff that ChatGPT can do. I'm wondering, can AI solve problems? How can we use AI to benefit our business? Then you're in the right spot, because this is literally everything the channel's about. And I have a decade of experience in business operations, sales function, customer services, purchasing, operational improvement, metrics building, process mapping, and everything in between. And the things that I've seen AI be able to do is just mind-blowing. And if you want to connect the dots and have someone create a system for you, or even just talk through why you don't need to be dealing with the problems you're dealing with right now, or how you unlock opportunity that your competitors have no clue exists, then let me know what you're dealing with, what you're struggling with, or what things that you want to do, and I'll help you. I can build a video for you like this, or even build a system and talk you through it over a YouTube video. I'd be more than happy to help. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.